Speaker? Are we ready for our next speaker? Atteridgeville, are we ready for our next speaker? All right, that's the energy that I'm talking about. Our next speaker is Chipo Mushwana, Executive for Emerging Innovation at Nedbank. She has more than 15 years of experience in technology and financial services, having previously served as head of Alpha Code at the Rand Merchant Investment Holdings Fintech Innovation Center and the first fintech community of the African continent. She's an innovator. She holds an MBA from GIBS and recently completed a program at Insida Business School in France and the Singapore campus. She's with us this morning. Can we show some love, ladies and gentlemen, and put our hands together for Chipo Mushwana, Executive for Emerging Innovation at Nedbank. Come on, Atteridgeville, entrepreneurs, and show some love. Welcome, Chipo. Thank you so much for joining us. The stage is yours.
Thank you for having me. Can you hear me fine? So I'm so excited to be here. Firstly, let me say I am extremely sorry for being late. I had a minor family issue to deal with in the morning, but I'm so excited that I made it here today and I made it in time. Rule number one, respect the people that you're with and you apologize when you're late, even in the entrepreneurship journey. So I've already taught you one thing. So the bio that they read, I don't know who they were talking about. I'm a girl who has started a business, had to shut down a business, was deep in debt. It took me 3.5 years to cover that debt, claw back. A girl that has helped a couple of people start businesses by facilitating access to markets, access to finance. A girl whom, when one of our South African presidents was recalled, with 2 other people, we absorbed something called the Eskisa program, put it into an organization, and we traveled the continent in Southern Africa, starting small survivalist and micro enterprises. That's the real me. And I guess that's why I stand here with you today, because not only am I an entrepreneur in my own right, but I've seen a couple of iterations of entrepreneurship.
Is it?
I've seen entrepreneurship in the remotest parts of the continent where people don't have running water, they don't have electricity, they don't have decent roads. I've seen entrepreneurship in high corporate high-rise buildings where at some point we had R1 billion to invest and we had no businesses to invest in because of the criteria for that R1 billion. So what it says to me is that entrepreneurship, and today I like the topic, pushing through resilience. Because like the previous speaker said, troubles and problems are not just the entrepreneurship story, but they're personal stories for all of us. I'm sure if I asked all of you what it took to get here today, we all have stories about what we sacrificed, how we planned, not only to get to this event, but probably to get to this point where we are in our lives. I work at Nedbank, but for all intents and purposes, I am a corporate entrepreneur. Working in innovation teaches you a couple of things. You're always trying to sell something that does not necessarily exist. You've got more questions than you have answers. Because that is what innovation is. And a lot of us are starting businesses that are innovative in their own right because we are solving for needs that either we have experienced, needs that people have experienced, and quite frankly, there's nothing new under the sun. What is new and what is different is how you and you and you are executing on your business strategy. I used to sell dresses. So the business that got me into debt was a fashion label. And I sold dresses. A dress is a dress is a dress. It's got seams, it's got a zip, it's got a collar, it's a dress. But what made it different was the fabric, was the quality, was the price, and whether it was aligned to what my customers wanted. And how I executed on that strategy. It started off as a passion project because I used to travel the continent. I collected a lot of fabrics. And I started making clothes out of it, and people started asking me, where do you get your clothes? And I said, I make my own clothes. I didn't physically sew them, but I designed, and I would wear them. And that's how I started that business. Next thing I knew, I had a factory in Wynberg. I was supplying retail store. It was a bad deal. If I sold the dress for 1,000, I only got 500. That barely covered my costs. So the more dresses I sold, the more money I lost, basically. Because I could never achieve economies of scale. Because I prioritized quality over what the market was willing to pay for what I was giving. At that time, there were other brands that had cropped up in the South African market that specialized in African clothing, contemporary African wear. And it doesn't matter how much I wanted to price a dress at or what I knew I should be pricing the dress at, because I used premium lining. You could take my dresses and turn them inside out and wear them. That's how neat they were. But that cost money. And I ran that business for 3.5 years. And I remember the day I decided to shut down the business. It was very emotional and it was very painful. But I was 250,000 in debt. I've got 2 kids that needed school fees, a husband who was sick and tired of my passion and me taking money from our home and pouring it into a business. And I went to 2 of my seamstresses and I said, I'm giving you all my clients. I'm giving you the label. You can take it because I need to walk away. One seamstress took it up and she's built her own label out of that. I still have people that call and want dresses to be designed. I design as a hobby. I don't sell any styles and any designs. But that process of running that business, it's that balance between passion and profit. And my reality is where I've got 2 kids and I've got bills to pay. And I could not sustain the business because my input costs were just too high. And what happened is I remember I had a batch of 1,000 skirts that I made. As soon as I took them into the stores, what did Chinatown do? They replicated them. This skirt was a bestseller for me. Every time I put it in store, granted, in 2 months it was gone. I sold that thing like hotcakes. It was my cash cow. We know what a cash cow is. It's the one thing in business that will always make you money. That's what a cash cow is. So in a business, you've got products that might not necessarily make you money, and you've got ones that you know for sure are going to make you money because you've struck that product market fit, product price fit. You've just hit that sweet spot with that particular product. And that's why when you build a business, you have a portfolio of products. Because in that portfolio of products, there is one or more that must make you money. Without too much effort, without too much energy, it's almost like it just runs itself. That's how big businesses stay afloat, big brands. You know there is a bank called Nedbank. No one has to tell you. You will see it, you will hear it. It's the benefit of the brand. It sells itself without necessarily saying anything else. So in a business, you have to have a balanced portfolio of products. Cash cow. And if you've got something that is not a cash cow, you have to have a roadmap how it's going to be a cash cow. But you also have to know when to quit, when to try something else. Passion is not to your demise. We call it the founder's dilemma. Founder's dilemma is when people are so obsessed about their business, even when it's not doing well, they don't know when to call it a day. You were selling hats 15 years ago, you're still selling hats, and we've got climate change, and maybe the sun is not shining as bright, and you're still selling hats. There is no logic in that kind of thinking. Founder's dilemma in some instances presents itself when a founder has got a great idea, but you can't just get the horse out of the stables. What does that mean? You don't want to let go of this thing because this thing is you and you are this thing. I know entrepreneurs that start businesses, they don't go to market, not because the idea is not necessarily great, but they hog it. It's mine and no one else. When I worked for one big corporate and we had this R1 billion to invest, and they said to me, help us find the next big thing in South Africa. There were a couple of types of entrepreneurs I came across. The guys that hogged the ideas and said, it's mine, it's a secret, never went anywhere. Entrepreneurship is a community game. That's why we say beggarly beg. That's why we come here on weekends and we sit and we share knowledge. Because that is what entrepreneurship is. It's collective wisdom that you take and advance your business or your agenda or somebody else's agenda. And those entrepreneurs did not make it because they thought everybody was out to steal their idea. Again, there is nothing new under the sun. You're doing hair, you're selling clothes, you're baking scones. It's not new. This thing is not new. How many companies are selling this thing? A lot, right? What makes it different is what Nedbank has decided to put to meet the needs of entrepreneurs on this device. So it's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. The secret is in the execution of what you are doing, not in the what. Because if you Googled your idea today, you will find it. Entrepreneurship hubs and communities have been built out of sharing. You might hear about Silicon Valley, you might hear about what's happening in the Asian tiger countries, but those communities are built because people get together and they share. So don't hog. Don't close yourself up and sit in a garage and lock the doors and windows and say people are going to come and steal my idea. Yes, you must be smart about who you share your idea with. And when you share your idea, you must be very clear what you're going to get out of it. The second type of entrepreneurs that I met were entrepreneurs that didn't have the knowledge and the understanding of the industry that they were participating in. You have to understand your macro, which is what is happening around you. We're in South Africa. Load shedding is near to us, but we're in an economy that is not growing, where our GDP, gross domestic, is not growing as much as we want it to. What does that mean? It means people have less disposable income, which means people have got less money to spend. That's your macro environment. It means when you take up credit, it's probably going to be more costly for you right now than it was a few years ago. It means that inflation is going up, basket of goods are becoming more expensive, people are cutting down on things and going for bare basics. So when you assess your macro environment, You have to break it down to your business in your community and say, what are my customers going through right now? How do I tweak? How do I change what I'm doing to be able to meet my customers' needs? My customers' needs is not just met in the product that I give them, but it's in how I give them. And how I give them is in how I price it, is in how I deliver it, is in how I package it. There's so many other things that goes into it. The third one is the difference between product and service. We all know there's a difference, right? If you're in the service business, you're selling time. And by virtue of selling time, so if I am a, let's say like our previous speaker, it's in radio. He has to be on radio at a set time and bills per hour. If he doesn't show up for those hours, he doesn't get paid probably. I don't know what the contractual obligations are. But that's what consultants sell, time. That is a service. A service is like something that has an expiry date. It's like a plane or a taxi. If a taxi leaves here and goes to Joburg, it burns the same amount of fuel with or without people. So the ideal situation is a taxi must be full before Isugala and it gets to Joburg, right? If I keep with my taxi empty or two people, I don't get to the garage and say, as a discount like fuel because nabanta by two. You can't do that because the price of running that vehicle is what it is. It is a fixed cost. So services take the same form and structure, and they're difficult businesses. Because the day you are sick, especially if you're a small business, the day you are sick, chances are you're not going to make money. It's gone, it's gone. A product is different. A product you can sell. A product you can put on a shelf. A product can be accessed easier. The question we had about, I sell diffusers. You're selling an experience. You're actually selling an experience. So how do you communicate that experience to your end customers? To the extent that without smelling it, they can almost visualize it. It smells like berries with almond, and that's how they sell wine, by the way. When people go for wine tasting, and the sommeliers tell you, oh, it's got hints of what, I never get it. I genuinely don't. Oh, wine is... But they're selling an experience. How do you sell an experience to people? How do you communicate? Which means how do you articulate in a great level of detail that invokes enough emotion for someone with money in their pocket to say, I am going to get that thing. Because remember, we're all selling the same things. And I can come, you walk around the mall, hey, that shirt is nice. But do you buy every shirt you say is nice? It's the same. What makes someone remove money from their pocket and buy? It's the perception of value, the perception of quality, the perception of needs being met. That is when that conversion actually happens. And the other type of entrepreneurs that I've seen are, as an entrepreneur, you must be personable. You must be able to communicate and articulate your value. Because you're always selling. When you're with family members, when you're with friends, you're always selling. There's no downtime. You are the business is you. So you're consistently, I'm selling, this is what I do, this is how I do it, and this is what I can do for you. You're always communicating value. I'm in corporate, I'm in innovation. I consistently have to justify myself in front of my colleagues that you see here so that they believe the story that I'm telling them. It's difficult. It's hard because half the stuff they've never seen doesn't even exist in the business. So you're consistently selling to somebody somewhere. And your ability to communicate what you're selling is important. I know you've probably heard this. Practice it. Stand in front of a mirror. Practice it. Practice a 1-minute pitch. Practice a 2-minute pitch. Practice a 5-minute pitch. Practice a 30-minute pitch. I have 20 minutes with you here. Probably left with 2 or 3 minutes. Practice what you're going to say and how you're going to say it to make sure that you get the result that you desire. And stay in the game. Entrepreneurship is difficult, it's hard, but it pays off. It really does pay off. We don't all have the benefit of just waking up and going to work. We don't. Sometimes we have to start businesses because by default, I have to support my family or I have to support myself. That's called default entrepreneurship. And it's the most difficult type of entrepreneurship because it's typically hand to mouth. The best type of entrepreneurship is when you've got capital, you've got money, so you're not worrying about bread and butter issues, you're worrying about growing the business. And the best investment in your business is customers. It's not necessarily raising money. It's customers that are willing to pay, the willingness to pay for a product. That is the best investment. Because you borrow money from somebody, you still have to pay it back. But a customer gives you money, you have full control and rights over that money to make decisions about how you're going to grow your business. So I know I've said a lot, and I probably exhausted my time, right, Nonji? I'm spot on. And I probably exhausted my time, but I'm hoping that in the last 20 minutes, I've been able to throw some nuggets your way that help you in your entrepreneurship journey. Yeah? Thank you so much, and I really do appreciate it. Do I get off the stage now?
One, two. All right. Thank you so much. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Chipo from Nedbank. So, first and foremost, thank you so much. You're right. The bio doesn't give you the behind the story. I mean, you spoke about being in debt, and it took you 3 years to bounce back. What kept you going in that 3 years? Where do you get your resilience from to bounce back, having been in debt for 3 years? I mean, you could have just easily given up. What kept you going?
I just had to.
You just had to.
What was the next best alternative? I had none but to get out of debt. What was staying in debt and wallowing and having a pity party going to do for me or my family? Absolutely nothing. But I had to demonstrate to the market, I had to demonstrate to the bank, I have the ability to handle my financial affairs, and I've got the ability to bounce back. I had to bounce back.
You had no other choice.
I had to bounce back.
Wow.
Whether it was going to take me, and I didn't know how long it was going to take me. It took the time it took, but I had to bounce back. And I was determined, and I'd settled in my mind, I will make sure I finish this thing and I break free clean.
So you had made up your mind. There's no going back.
Listen, this was our second rodeo at losing money. My husband and I started security business in Gurman, and we lost money as well.
Sure.
So I knew the impact of the cycle of losing money in our family. And I just said to myself, I have to bounce back.
Who gave you the loan? Was it Nedbank?
Yeah. It was another bank I was with before that. Nedbank is generally good with their loans.
All right, one more time, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. So, I do feel as well that the family, your kids, they played a big role in you bouncing back.
Of course they did.
Sure.
6-year-old and a 2-year-old at that time.
Wow.
That were looking up to me. So I had to.
Sure. And it's very powerful. I think we also have kids, bana, that are looking up to us. And I feel like a lot of you have not given up yet because how was saying, how lo pusha o sheba bona, not only ba isa sekolong o shebile bona, so that they can have a better future. 2 questions. My brother, my sister, please come to the front.
It's not fair. You chose from the same row on the same side of the
No,
room.
no, just where my eyes go out, I just chose. I don't know that. Let's
arranged
let's
for the
my
guys
lily
this
too.
side.
Well, let's my lily to your sister or pick a fast so. Oh. Please come, my brother. All right, so introduce yourself. Question to Chipo. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sylvia. I am owning a company.
My sister, please just put the mic a little bit closer to you.
Okay.
Sure, thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sylvia. I'm sitting here in Pretoria, in Atteridgeville, and I'm owning a business, construction business, and a driving school. I also have a driving school. My question to you, you said there was a time you did your business for 3 years, 3.5 years, if I'm correct. And when was that time that you saw, this is not working? What that minute, I want that minute you say, this is not working.
Like I said, the more dresses I made, the more money I lost. But also the market had changed. There were more competitors that were doing it much better than I was. And I think for me, the cookie crumbled when Chinatown replicated my skirts. Then I knew I couldn't compete against that. And the retail shop called me and they said, go to all the malls. It was Eastgate, Sandton, go and collect all those skirts. We don't want them in store. And I sat with stock and I didn't know what to do with it. I think that for me was a watershed moment.
Sure. Thank you so much, my brother.
Ke a le dumedisa bo botle lebitso la ka ke Malfetsane all the way from Soshanguve. Business ya ka ke mechanic ke fetsa motor engineering. Question ne ke na le yona so a ke itse na is it the right one go ke buisa motho mo right. Cause good look at Roberta ko Nedbank. Ha wa hlalosa gona o etsang ko teng. So nna a ke itse nka nna ka e share ke gona to say as an entrepreneur. Or as an entrepreneur we make mistakes. Lena gets a mistake. I had a bank business account in Nedbank, my first business account in Nedbank. So the problem that I make as a mechanic or for mobile, I had the tools. So I have to cover the tools. So I did business activity. So guys, a liability. If I work on a customer car, of my accident, I'll be able to pay back the car. So the problem, business yasi generate chelet. Kasibi kwagazo khonu patala. Who puts a child into account until Nedbank in Kata in Pozona. But they keep on saying, oh, they support a small business. Now I did make mistake as a small business, but I did end up punished. So no, ntongo kinyaka ubitisa yona.
How you saying, ba? How punish?
Yeah, punish kata ba like yeah. It makes sense.
Because how patal?
Because I patel a mistake. So question I got to you and I get about it. When business on yetsa yelo no etsa di dressing with what was the goal? Goal you are in LA. All of experience with money within. What was the goal? The goal.
When I started the business, I really wanted to start a fashion label of African couture contemporary clothing because I genuinely enjoyed wearing African clothes. That was it, right? And the other thing that you need to remember as an entrepreneur is there's different sources of funding. The bank is one of them. When you start raising capital, as a small business, ideally, you go angel investors as friends and family. Here's 500 rands, here's 300 rands, here's whatever, here's whatever. And as you mature your business and you put systems and processes in place, you also formalize your finance structures. What happens is, any business, any part of the world, once you take money from a formal institution, there's processes that kick in automatically. So even if you raised money from, let's say I was an investor, and you came and you raised money from me, I expect you to report back to me. I expect you to give me 5x or 10x of what I've put into your business, right? And if you don't, what do I do as an investor? I pull out. So I'm not justifying Nedbank because it's every other bank that would do that. But what I'm saying is, as an entrepreneur, you need to know these things. The bank is not out to punish you. It's actually not. The bank is out to sustain its business operations. That is what the bank is out to do. That is what an investor is out to do. The reason why you go to people that give small businesses money is because you have the benefit of a relationship with your investor. If I am your investor, you can call me and say, hey, I made a mistake. You know, I said I was going to give you money in October, and it looks like I'll give you next year, July. You can do that with me. But with a bank, you go to a call center. And telling that story, it doesn't land the same way. So as entrepreneurs, we need to understand our environment. That macro I spoke about, even funding sources. Pros and cons of funding sources. Okay? It's very important. It's very important. It's not just the bank, it's many other places that you can get funding. If you're going to get from the bank, make sure you're going to pay back because it affects you and your credit rating, and then there's so many other things that come with that that you do not want to be part of your life.
Thank you so much.
Was that fair?
Yeah, that was fair. It's just
It's tough, ne?
the punishing part.
But that's why I had to say, no bank
Ka
is
ha
out to
bona
punish
Nedbank
you.
a re beile ba ba punishana, ba?
Hey.
The
Nedbank
lovely thing
bankers-
as well is that we've got Nedbank bankers who are here,
Yes.
who are able to assist you with other
Yes.
issues that you may have. So go to them. Beside the punishers, and I can Nedbank. They also got a business to run. Just go to them and see if there's a way that they could be able to assist you.
There they are.
They are there at
Go
the
to-
back. Hands,
Say
please.
hi.
These are the people that will still be able to assist you with getting your Nedbank pocket pause. So we want to say on behalf of Chipo, thank you so much. I think what you shared with the audience, I was at the back and people are writing, you've really made an impact. It was lovely because you could connect, because you also started your business and you've bounced back. So we really, really appreciate it. People were inspired. Please, can we give a round of applause? Please don't go. Don't go. We have a gift for you, right? Carol? Right, so can we just... No. She's not here, but the gift is here. So we have a gift for you. Flowers. To say on behalf of T, we appreciate it. And a book as well. Please, can we just get a photo? Yeah, so there's also makeup in here, I've been told.
Hi, it's mine.
Okay. Yeah, I know. But it's makeup in here. So this makeup is from Hermosa. From gorgeous Mbali. Hermosa. Makeup. Hermosa, sorry. Gorgeous Mbali is one of the speakers that will be coming on later to come and share her story. And we just want to say on behalf of T, we really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming out. Please, can we get a photo of you? Can you hold these flowers and the book? All right, there's the camera. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause from Chipo Mushwana from Nedbank, Executive for Emerging Innovative at Nedbank. Thank you.